Welcome to Toastmaster Time TV. I'm your host tonight, Happy Skywalker, and this episode starts the 19th year for Toastmaster Time TV, and it's also International Women's Day, and we have an all-women cast today. To tell us a little more about today's speeches, let's welcome Cynthia Stott.
Thank you, Happy. I'm so excited to be here with these amazing speakers we have tonight. First up, we have Savitha Settler, and she's going to be persuading with power with Got Olympics. So excited to hear that speech. Back to you, Happy.
Awesome. Savitha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy?
Yeah, so you are a Toastmasters member. What club are you in?
I belong to 4 clubs, but today I represent Stagecoach Warriors.
4 clubs, that is for warriors. Awesome. So before you joined Toastmasters, what did you know about Toastmasters?
I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about Toastmasters.
Well, that is ambitious that you even came. Why did you stay?
I stayed because I liked one aspect of Toastmasters, and that's the listening part of it. It has helped me in my professional and personal life too.
Awesome. Do you feel ready to give your speech tonight?
Yes.
Great. I'll give you a moment to do that. During her speech, we'll have Cynthia Stott listening. She's our evaluator tonight, and she's going to pay attention for some objectives that are laid out in the Toastmasters manuals, which is part of the educational program at Toastmasters. We're going to see a little more about what those objectives are tonight. Let's welcome Cynthia Stott.
Thank you, Happy. So happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you, of course. What project is Savitha doing tonight?
She is doing from the basic manual, project number 9, Persuade with Power.
Okay, so that speech project has some objectives laid out for it. What are Savitha's objectives?
Absolutely. She's going to persuade listeners to adopt her viewpoint or ideas and to take some action. She's going to appeal to the audience's interests and use logic and emotion to support her position.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's welcome Savitha Settler with Got Olympics. This is Got Olympics by Savitha Settler.
Have you been to the Olympics at any point in your life? When I say Olympics, what is it that comes to mind? A place where the whole world meets with good friendship and friendly competition to celebrate excellence? Well, in that case, I have been to the Olympics. Not once, but twice, and I plan to go there a 3rd time. What I am referring to and comparing to the Olympics is nothing other than the Toastmasters International Conference, 2 of which I had the pleasure of attending and experiencing. One in Malaysia in the year 2014 and one last year in Las Vegas. My goal today is to paint a picture of those experiences such that at least a handful of you will be inspired to attend the next conference in Washington, D.C. in August. I got a lot from these conventions. They range from the networking to the keynote speeches to the World Championship of Public Speaking, ending up in the grand finale ball and dinner. But today, I am going to focus on some of the highlights. Let's begin with the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is a grand event where every distinguished district is honored by the president of Toastmasters International. Picture this. When the name of the district is called, every member of the distinguished district that is present at the convention walks up to that international stage carrying the district banner, and they get to shake hands with the president of Toastmasters International. What an honor. The second aspect of this wonderful convention is the business meeting, where the international leaders are elected. The contestants go on a campaigning spree. There is a place called the marketplace where we get to go and interview these candidates, form our opinions, and then make an informed decision before we cast our votes. What was the most enriching learning experience for me at the past conference at Las Vegas was the way our past international president, Mohammad Murad, conducted the business meeting. Picture this again, a room of around 2,500 Toastmasters from all over the world with varied opinions on a controversial proposal, coming there to vote. One leader at the helm of affairs, leading and guiding these people, exhibiting impeccable leadership skills and holding fort with utmost dignity. It was an amazing experience to just be there and be a part of this solemn occasion and cast my vote. The most exciting part of any international convention is the joy and honor of listening to 40 top-notch international level speakers, one of whom was also one from our own District 57, James Jeffley. Each of these speakers had a unique message to convey. The messages ranged from, there is something in everyone, the power of words, you can fix everything, all the way up to some world-changing messages like polishing a scratch. As I sat there listening to these speakers, one better than the other, I was thanking my stars that I was not one of the judges. The most lasting and fulfilling experience of the convention was the opportunity to network with Toastmasters from all over the world. In this respect, I enjoyed the Malaysia conference more than the Las Vegas one. Can you guess why? It was the food. There was such a good spread of food served to us at regular intervals that if I had breakfast with Toastmasters from China, I got to have lunch with other Toastmasters from Japan and maybe go out to dinner with a Toastmaster from Australia. And in talking to these Toastmasters and listening to their interesting stories, I just felt that my experience was enriched. It is amazing to know the challenges that Toastmasters face in other parts of the world, not being close to the world headquarters like we are fortunate to be. This networking experience, I thought, was the one thing that is enough to motivate any one of us to go to these international conventions. I think I have painted a good enough picture of an international convention and instilled a desire in at least some of you to attend the convention in Washington. So, what are you waiting for? Start planning that trip to Washington, D.C., because before you know it, August will roll in and it will be time for Olympics again.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Savita. We have Cynthia Stott here to evaluate that speech and tell us what you saw.
Was amazing. I really loved it. I especially loved the networking aspect. That was amazing, to be able to have lunch with people from China, or breakfast from China, lunch with Japan, and dinner with Australia. I think that was so compelling.
That does sound great. What are you waiting for, she asked. When she said that, I was like, oh, So in terms of her objectives, did you pick up on anything that you thought she met particularly well?
I think absolutely her persuasive powers were really great. I think she really showed us her viewpoint. And she kind of started off slow with a little bit of, the business meeting and some of the things that might be not quite so interesting, and then leapt into that amazing international networking.
I actually really like to hear about how Mohammed Murad conducted business as well. That to me sounded like a good reason to be there.
They were all great reasons.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for your perspectives there. So did you find anything in her speech that felt like it could be touched up, anything to grow on?
Yeah, I saw that when she said, I think I've given you a good enough reason, it was a little light. And so this is persuasion. So I hope I've made a compelling argument that, or compelling, I hope I've compelled you to want to go to Washington, D.C. and be a part of this global conference.
Right. Maybe even I know I compelled you.
I know I compelled you. Oh, I love that. Bold.
Right? Thank you. You're watching Toastmaster Time TV, and we'll be right back with more of the show.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time TV. We're here now with Charlene Reeves, who is our next speaker tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Happy. Thanks so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm super glad you're here. Can you tell me what club you're a member of?
I'm a member of Heart to Heart, and I love Heart to Heart.
You love Heart to Heart?
I do.
Awesome. So your speech tonight, the topic is from Toastmasters to TV host.
Yes.
I am hosting this show tonight. This is my first time ever hosting
And you're doing
any
a
TV
great
show.
job. A great job.
Thank you. So you are accustomed to hosting television shows. Do you have any tips you can give?
I do. I think the hardest thing as a host is to really keep your energy up so that you can really keep people interested. That's the hard part.
I think I got that one.
Yes.
I don't know if they're
yes, you do.
interested, but I have the energy. So hosting, being something you do, what do you get out of it? Why is it compelling to you?
I love to host because on my show in particular, I bring information that you can't find anywhere else. So I get to really build up the guests that come on my show, make them feel important, and the audience gets great information.
Sounds like you do a much needed service.
I do.
Awesome. That's super great. Do you feel ready to give your speech?
I am so ready.
Great. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to prepare.
Okay.
And after her speech, again, we'll have an evaluation from Cynthia Stott. Evaluations are a critical part of Toastmasters. That is where you learn what you've done well, what you need to improve on, and where you can evaluate how you've met the objectives of each specific speech, which vary from project to project. Cynthia, you're here to help us see what we can learn from Charlene's speech. What project is she working on today?
She's working on project number 2, which is organize your speech, the basics. Really important.
Yeah, that's the second speech. It's very much at the beginning. What are the objectives that go with that?
Well, she needed to select an appropriate outline which allows the listeners to easily follow her speech, make her message clear with supporting material, use appropriate transitions between points, and create a strong opening and conclusion.
Excellent, excellent. Now we are presenting Charlene Reeves with From Toastmasters to TV Host. This is From Toastmasters to TV Host by Charlene Reeves.
I'm so excited to be here tonight because I get to tell you the truth about Toastmasters, the living truth. And I want to start my story at a young age, a very young age, I might add. And I was only 5 years old when I discovered that speaking in front of an audience was not for me. And let me tell you how that happened. Even I was surprised. I love to be very small because when I was young, I was not allowed to give an opinion. And I felt that if I was small, I wouldn't have any issue to deal with. And that worked really well until I turned 5 years old and my mother decided that I was going to be on the stage with the school kindergarten play for Christmas. And guess what I was? She made me a snowman costume. And mind you, that wasn't really special because there were so many other snowman costumes. All the kids were snowmen. But she worked so hard on that costume. And I learned to do my dance, and we did it for weeks on end, and I knew it so well, and we did it in the classroom. And I was perfectly comfortable there. Well, the day came when we actually had to do the dance. And guess what? It was on stage. I found myself saying, "Teacher, teacher, not me, I'm not going on stage. I don't want to be on stage." And she said, "You have to go on stage because the whole class is going on stage. Besides, your mom made this beautiful snowman costume." So they put it on me, and it was very large, and I had my hands way out to the side. I couldn't put them down, and I felt so awkward. I knew if I fell, I was going to tumble over on top of this whole costume and knock other children over, which made me even more and more insecure. So she said, the teacher, "You can go in last. Don't worry about a thing. You'll stand to the back on the right side, and you're the last one coming in." And I came in. Now remember, I was only 5. And I looked at the whole audience. And I felt, as a 5-year-old, they were all looking right at me. So what did I do? I backed up, and I saw the curtain was here. So pretty soon, the curtain was wrapping all around me, and I was trying to hide the costume, but I couldn't hide it because it was so big. I was petrified. And worse yet, I never did a step, and when I came off the stage, I had broken my mother's heart. She had worked for weeks to make this costume and said, "Why didn't you dance?" And I didn't even have an answer. When I was 16 years old, my grandfather was a star in this awesome group of men that he belonged to, and he was way high up, and he had watched me play the clarinet for years. And I played in the band, and I had the horn up here and the horn down here, and I was perfectly happy. I marched in formation with all the rest of the band, and I played on the bleachers, and I was the first chair. I did a great job. So my grandfather said to me, "Charlene, why don't you play at the father-daughter dinner for me? I would love to have you as my entertainment." And I thought, awesome. And we picked the song. It was Moon River. I spent weeks practicing Moon River. I knew it in my sleep. I didn't need any music at all. It was awesome. And everybody who walked in that heard me play said, "You got it. You've really got it." Well, guess what? My grandfather picked me up. I had my clarinet with me in the little case. And guess what? He told me how proud he was of me and how happy he was that I was going to be the entertainment for that night. And I was so excited until we walked in. Guess what? There was a stage, yet again. I stepped onto the stage when it was my time, and I thought, you know what? It's not going to matter. But guess what happened? I had prepared myself, I'd warmed up, and when I got on the stage, it went, woo! And I was like, "Oh, did I do that? Was that me?" And do you know, I stood there for another 5 minutes and I could never get a word, a song of any kind, or a word out of my mouth to make the excuse. I can't even remember. I must have passed out because I don't remember getting off the stage or riding home with my grandfather that night. Well, then, it wasn't long after that. I believe I was about 28 years old. So yes, it was kind of long. But I had a cowboy who came up to me and said, "You need to come to Toastmasters." And I said, "No, no, no, not me. I'm not doing it." And he convinced me that Toastmasters was my way into the world. And believe me, it was. I did all of the manuals. I was an area governor. I coached clubs. I built clubs. I had 8 different clubs when I was an area governor, and I became a distinguished Toastmaster. And the reason I say from Toastmasters to TV show host is because that is what I am today. And if you want to really push Toastmasters and to really make yourself shine based on what you've learned with Toastmasters, step up, step out, make yourself move forward, use what you've learned. And I have 3 very short tips for you. If you want to be a guest expert on TV, here's what you do. First of all, you have to know who you are. What is your mission and your message? Second, you need to know your demographic. That's so important. What is your demographic? Really think about that. And the last thing, the third most important tip, is to speak your client's perfect language. That's what I've learned. That's what will really help you as an entrepreneur in the future to make a big bang. And then maybe you'll be a guest expert on my show. I can't wait to see you there. And that's why I'm here to tell you the truth about Toastmasters.
That was awesome. That was great. I'm so glad I was here tonight for this speech. Cynthia, what have you got for us?
Wow, I loved it. It was awesome. I loved the opening. Really started off with I'm going to tell you the real story. Loved that. And the conclusion was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
How did she do on her objectives?
Well, her objectives, the last objective is a strong opening and a conclusion. She absolutely nailed that. Absolutely. Appropriate outline for listeners to listen to. And yeah, there was a progression from 5 to 16 to 28 with the cowboy. I loved that. And
The cowboy.
yeah, the cowboy that brought me to Toastmasters. I mean, you don't hear that every day.
Nope.
She did make her message very clear, and she had some great transitions.
That's awesome. I also found it rather suspenseful. I was here like, what about the costume? Wait, what happened on the stage? Clarinets? What happened? So I thought that was just great. Obviously, she's an advanced speaker, obviously. Is there anything that you found that she could grow on?
Yes.
Oh,
I always love to give a stretch goal.
okay.
So the stretch goal, I would say, is something that you call the J story. So it's here I am today, but it wasn't always this way. I started from here. And then you talk about the transition. It's the J, it's the turn, which she had. So if she could have, at the beginning, the little J, the little twist, she could have said, because in the title you give away that she's a TV host. So you could start with that. I'm a TV host and I'm supporting entrepreneurs. But she could have said, but it wasn't always that way. When I was 5, it was very different.
When I was 5, I was a terrible snowman. Yeah. Okay, awesome,
Absolutely.
awesome. Great. So we will be right back in a moment to Toastmaster Time TV. Thanks.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time TV. It's our 19th year making this show, also International Women's Day. I'm here with Cynthia Stott. What an episode we've had.
Amazing.
Some wonderful speeches, both highly focused on Toastmasters. We're both Toastmasters. I feel like I've gotten a lot out of it. Did you want to share any thoughts on what you've gotten here?
Yes, absolutely. Toastmasters completely turned me around. I used to be terrified of public speaking. It was one of my strong phobias.
Oh, phobia, that's a serious word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, at my first Toastmaster speech, thought I was going to have an accident. I think you know what I mean.
Ooh.
Because I was terrified. I was terrified. I love Toastmasters. One of the biggest things I've learned is this is an excellent place to fail.
Absolutely.
I do it over and over. It's the best learning thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Place to take a risk.
Yes, yes. I often will tell new members, come here, give a horrible speech, we will still be your friend.
That's right.
And we will help you. And we'll clap. We'll clap. And give tips. And give
Absolutely.
tips. I love this as an excellent safety net, Toastmasters.
Beautiful. And it actually helped me start a new career.
I believe it really contributed to my getting into my dream job that I have now, actually.
A dream job.
I do.
love
I
it.
have my dream job. I know that you are a person who believes in envisioning what you want, and that's what I did. I laid out what I wanted for a dream job, and I've got it, which I think was pretty cool. You feel similarly about your work, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Excellent. I'm so glad we talked. Thank you for being here with tonight's episode. If you want to know more about Toastmaster Time TV, please visit the website toastmastertime.com. If you want to know about District 57 Toastmasters, you can go to d57tm.org. And if you want to know more about Toastmasters International as a whole, please visit toastmasters.org. Thanks and have a great night.